60 feet long. Now, by contrast, his kid brother got the smaller plane. And what I have here is a picture of that. That's the B-26 Marauder that my dad flew. And I also have a comparison sheet in the handout notes that you see with the key features of these two bombers. So you get an idea of what their service is for. Dad, you want to talk about how you got involved and the Widowmaker as it worked?
I'll sit if you like. One time when I was rather young, probably a little bit younger than you, I went to a county fair. My parents were from there, and they had a stunt pilot who flew around a biplane, airplane, and did twirls and loop-the-loop, and gave us entertainment, I guess, for 15 or 20 minutes. But that day, I said, my God, would I like to do that.
Let me interrupt for a second. I don't give you guys a setting. Both of these guys grew up on a small family farm in southwestern Minnesota. The total population of the town is about the population of students at this high school. You get an idea of what small town living's in. Now, imagine you guys spread over miles and miles and miles of farmland. So go ahead, continue. That's the county fair reference when you get to see an airplane.
So where was I?
So you guys saw the guy doing the loop-the-loops and you were enthralled by it and wanted to become a pilot.
And so then, when the war came and we had an opportunity to enlist, we had, I was at college at the time, and the Army, Air Force, and the Navy, and the submarine people came out on the college campus and interviewed us and tried to enlist us, and most of us signed up for the guys that did. Assuming you passed the tests, you had to pass a verbal test and a medical, just like most of us did. And so we were all enlisted where we wanted to, and then we just waited to be called into the service. And so then, the first place I went down to was the University down in Missouri, down in St. Louis, and that's where we got my initial break-in. So we're learning how to march, learning how to parade, reading. We had pictures of foreign airplanes, enemy craft that you had they flash on the screen for a tenth of a second at the end, and you would identify them, write them down, and that got kind of tricky. But most of them got better than 60%. I got a little bit better than that, but anyway, that was part of our recognition thing, so that you knew who was an enemy pilot or enemy plane, because you sure as heck didn't want to shoot down one of your own. And some of our planes, like the P-51, were very close to some other planes over there in Japan and what have you. And the 47, the same thing, Japan, and very similar models do that. So we had to be quite careful about that.
Frank, that's a P-51 up there for you?
No, that's a P-47.
P-47.
The P-51 had an inline engine, liquid cooled. This is air cooled, it's a radial engine. There'd be 14 cylinders in a radial engine, little radial engine.
They finally quit using the P-51 because the liquid cooled engines was very easy to pull up, one of the fuel pipes in there, and then it disabled the plane, so it really just go down. Whereas the P-47, they had just airfoil type of thing, and you could shoot you had bullets through the engine and what have you, and you could still fly as long as the engine would work. That was the difference.
Well, one of the things we talked about is comparison between the planes. And if you see the mission range, B-26 that my dad flew at, the mission range of 1,100 miles. Traveled almost twice as fast as the B-24 and carried about half as much bomb load. So because of that, they had to be deployed differently. Now, remember, Normandy invasion is when the U.S. starts pushing back, occupied France, the Germans back. And so, if we go to the station list here, right? Frank is in Norwich, England, and my dad is in station in France and Belgium, and that had just as much to do with the types of planes that you were flying and the assignments that you were getting. So, just to give you a geography lesson here, this is Norwich, England here, where my house is, and that's where Frank was stationed with the longer range you were stationed when you were waiting for the transfer to Japan.
That's right.
Well, at that stage in the war, if you take a look at this slide here, color code's a little tough to read, but it's basically a calendar map that shows you how the Germans got pushed back. The top one is the pink, and that's from June, the 6th of June to July 24th, the first month and a half of the Normandy invasion. So they've established their beachhead up here, and then we've got other Allied strength pushing the Germans back. So the Russians are putting a lot of pressure on the Germans. And then you've got from July to September is the blue, and from July to September is really when France was retaken. And that's when Frank arrives. So I guess we have to thank that. And in September, Bob arrives, and that's when he's able to be based in France, because France has really been retaken. Okay. People use the term, don't give me any flack. Okay? You guys know what flak is? Frank, let's know what flak is.
Flak was the anti-aircraft fighter. That was from the ground. It was a special shell. It had a timed fuse in it, depending on how high we were. And they had determined this as we approached, how fast we were going, the ground speed, the altitude, and determine where we would be 10 seconds from then. And they would have that fuse adapted to that altitude that we're flying. Flak 2. We had a very powerful ground artillery piece that took care of on Christmas Eve. Took care of an airplane flying close to me, blew it right into pieces, and we thought they were all lost, but the 3 of them survived and became prisoners of war. But that flak was very effective, very dark, and you see a lot of it where they could really put up a lot of it. In fact, sometimes they describe it as thick enough that you thought you could walk on. So it was pretty thick. We were flying in the clouds one day. That was a mistake of our leader. All the 8th Air Force were heading towards Berlin. And there were times that we could not see the plane we were flying off our leader, but we could see the flag. And we flew close, just as close as we could to the airplane, so we wouldn't touch. And so that was our protection, was to fly close. You had tremendous firepower. We had 50 caliber guns, taken care of by our trained gunners. They were very good. Maybe I'm ahead of myself a little bit on this.
No, that's okay.
Flak.
You know, I think you mentioned the POW, or the guy that was shut down in the POW. So you got a follow-up story on what happened to that guy.
Yeah, very